The general process of precision journalism, and we have defined steps. We have defined steps here. The first, which has to do with identification of a social issue or news problem. I want to talk about identification of a social issue or news problem. This involves recognizing a societal condition or event or trends that require systematic investigation beyond routine reporting. I will talk about looking at this beyond routine reporting. We expect that when you talk about identifying the social issues or news problem, the first step involves just identifying societal issues, the trends, the events, or problem that requires deeper investigation. And at this stage, the journalist recognizes that ordinary reporting may not be enough to explain the issue properly. So the issue must be important, it must be relevant and capable of being investigated systematically. For example, a journalist may identify issues such as fake news during elections, youth unemployment, and so on. So the goal here is to select a problem that requires evidence-based analysis. First, you just need to identify a social issue before you can engage in what we call precision journalism. The next is formulation of research questions or hypotheses. An hypothesis is always what comes to my own mind when it comes to coming up with a research topic. How will this particular phenomenon affect this particular number of people before I'm able to now say, okay, let me look at this particular topic, and which is what a precision journalist, a journalist engaged in precision journalism should also look at. So identifying the issue, the journalist develops research questions or hypotheses to guide the investigation. So research questions, these are, we'll talk about research questions, these are questions the journalists seek to answer. Does social media exposure truly influence voter turnout among Nigerian youth? We look at some of these things. And the last election, we saw practically that social media exposure doesn't influence voter turnout. I, for instance, am a social media keyboard warrior. Doesn't mean the same energy I put on my social media platform is also the same energy I'll go and put on the day of election. It is different. So it doesn't translate. I can say this for a fact and I can say this statistically. So hypotheses here are tentative statements predicting relationships between variables. Example, there is a significant relationship between social media exposure and voter participation. So this stage only gives direction and focus to the investigation. Number 3 is that it determines determination of appropriate data source. The journalist here at this point is expected to identify reliable sources of information that is needed for investigation. What are the sources? Who are those? Am I using primary sources? Am I using secondary sources? So data sources may be primary or secondary, like I said. Primary sources include your surveys, interviews, the one conducted by you. Rather, you decide to conduct it by yourself, either through surveys, interviews, observation, questionnaire, or field investigation. While secondary, you are to rely on government reports, and this is taking us back to active and reactive. When you are doing a primary, you are using primary sources, then you are doing what we call active precision. When you are using secondary sources, you are doing what we call reactive precision journalism, because you only be relying on government reports, you'll be relying on databases that exist. Number 4 is the collection or data collection or data acquisition. Here we expect that journalists gathers required information. If using primary sources, the journalist may distribute questionnaire. But if you are to use secondary sources, the journalist may obtain official reports, databases, or even other people's research findings. The next, which is data verification and cleaning. After data collection, the information must be checked carefully. And we check information for the sake of accuracy, we check it for consistency, we check it for completeness, and we check to ensure that the data that we have with us does not contain any shade of error. So this process is called data cleaning, where the journalist removes incorrect entries, duplicated information, inconsistent responses, or missing data. So, for instance, if a respondent provides contradictory answers, the response may be corrected or excluded. We see it as an invalid data. So this stage ensures the reliability and validity of the findings. Number 6, which is data analysis and interpretation. The collected data are analyzed by the journalists. They analyze using statistical methods, statistical tools, charts, and comparative techniques. And the reason why we do this, the aim is to identify the relationship, the patterns, the trends. For instance, the journalists may discover journalists with high exposure to AI technologies report greater concern about job security. So the journalists interpret what the findings mean within the context of the study. So this stage transforms raw data into meaningful information. Number 7 is contextualization of findings. And this, when it comes to precision journalism, does not only mean presenting number. From the word context, you put it into core explanation. It explains them. It explains the data within broader societal realities. So here, the journalist places the findings within political, within social, economic, historical, or even cultural context. Example is, if the data show increasing unemployment among journalists due to AI technologies, the journalists may discuss automation in media industries. They may discuss digital transformation, that there is need for people to now learn new skill towards digitization, and also the changes in newsroom practice that we need to move. So contextualization helps audience to understand the deeper significance of the findings. And the next is presentation of results. The analyzed findings here are then transformed into what we call understandable and engaging news stories, where the journalists present information clearly, logically, factually, and professionally. The goal is to make complex findings easy for the audience to understand with what we call good presentation, which combines the data, the explanation, storytelling, and factual interpretation. Number 9, which is use of visuals and supporting evidence. Precision journalism is not sometimes complete. I'm using the word sometimes because when we make use of precision journalism, not necessarily for us sometimes to have figures to back up our claims, but it is also imperative at some point to use visuals to support our evidence. And what are these visuals? We use visuals such as charts, graphs, tables, maps, infographics, and official documents. And we use them because of complicated information that people might not understand on the surface level. And the visual helps to improve audience understanding, increases engagement, and strengthen credibility. The last one, which is ethical review, accuracy check, and publication. So before publication, the journalists conduct a final review to ensure fairness, to ensure balance, to ensure ethical compliance. That is, for a person that had pleaded anonymity, have I also included it in my report? Have I ensured that his name is not mentioned in my report? Because the report must avoid misinformation. It must avoid manipulation. So fact-checking at this point is essential. And once a news is verified, the report is published through newspapers. It is published through television, online platforms, digital media channels, and this final stage ensures professional integrity and public trust. So, what are the importance of the general process of precision journalism? Number 1, it is important because it improves journalistic approaches, journalistic accuracy. It strengthens investigative reporting. It enhances credibility, promotes evidence-based journalism, reduces misinformation, and encourages accountability. If we are to look at this in its entirety, one could say that the general process of precision journalism is a systematic procedure, step-by-step procedure, which is why I'm using the word systematic, through which journalists investigate social issues using scientific methods and data analysis. And beginning from problem identification to ethical review and publication, each stage ensures that reporting is factual, objective, reliable, and evidence-based.